Hey Polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video I have a last minute video to make and post right before HHC. In my infinite wisdom, I decided to go ahead and peruse Facebook some more right before HHC opens tonight, and I inevitably found something else that I liked, and it's another duo. So it is by Vanessa Molina. I forget what the names are. I'll try to remember to put them down there. But it is a duo. And what really caught my attention is actually how the polishes look together. So I'm trying to dupe out how they look together. So we're going to go ahead and look at the combinations that I've come up with in my attempts to foil myself from wanting to buy another duo, because let me tell you, this picture right here is why we're doing this. I love that combination of this almost rust leaning, brown leaning red. I don't, in this instance, need to necessarily duplicate the flakies that are in it, those holographic ones. But also, as I was gathering materials for this dupe, I realized I don't really have blue flakies. Like that kind there in the photo. I don't have those. I have a bunch of iridescent flakies, but most of them lean a different shade range. The closest I found was this one. I did use that one in 2 of my attempts. But yeah, we're going to see if we can't at least satisfy my craving for that rusty red brown color, because that's what my eyes are seeing, even though it is described as a red jelly base with hollow flakes and gold shimmer in it. Now it says Aurora, but to my eyes, I'm seeing a gold shimmer in that. So what did I pull? The first one that I came up with, mainly because I'd already been doing a video with it, a couple of them actually, is this Orly called In the Conservatory. Now, obviously this is not a red, this is a terracotta shade, but I was really interested in how this looked primarily in one of the videos that I just did for one of my Monarch hauls. And this combination is Smoke and Mirrors over in the Conservatory. And as you can see, it darkens it substantially. And then of course you get that beautiful shifting shimmer from Smoke and Mirrors. So I decided I wanted to attempt to use In the Conservatory and see if I could use this as that sort of rust leaning base and see if I couldn't find something to redden it up to that color that I was seeing there in the picture. The second one that I decided to pull was an A England Hollow. This is Maxim. I thought that this would be a nice attempt at trying to get that darker red that I was seeing. Now this one is brown leaning also, but this is a bit more like a deep brown. Another one that I pulled was Beyond the Nail. This was their Oops of Lunenburg. And this one is a bunch of different micro glitters in hollows, and the overall feel of this color is sort of a rust orange. So I wanted to try that one. Next, I got Chaotic Glitz, Prepare to Face the Butcher Baker. This one is a brown with a red pinch to it. It's got hollow in it as well. It was squishier, so I did need a couple of layers to get this opaque enough to use as a base, but it has that reddish brown lean in it with a little hollow. Next up, I decided to pull this one from Polished for Days. This is Rudolph. This is one of the more red leaning polishes that I did pull for this dupe attempt. The base, I think, technically has like a purplish hue to it. Yeah, it's got kind of a purple hue to it, but the shimmer in it makes it lean primarily red. And because of that shifting shimmer, you do get the gold shift that a lot of these other colors didn't have so far. Plus, this has those holographic flakes in it, so I wanted to play with that. Next, because it was sitting right beside me for one of my Polish pickup hauls, I decided to attempt using this one as a base. This is Wildflower Lacquer's Cat Bear. Now, this has that orange mixed with a bit of pink, so I thought that this might be an interesting concept to try layering with to see if I could get that same feel as the Vanessa Molina layered duo. And as you can see, this does have some orange and gold there at the edges, and there is a little bit of like a particle that twinkles in a purple as well. And then last but not least, I decided to pull this one, Turtle Tootsies. I think this is the closest to the base color. And this one is Chili. And this one is a deep red with a brown lean to it. This does have hollow in it. It also has flakes, but also it has that gold shimmer in it. So it has components that some of these other colors didn't have. Then because I thought it might help some of these colors reach the red factor that is in that duo that we're trying to dupe, I decided to use Aura's Downhill. This is a fairly recent acquisition, and the reason this works, I mean, already there, look at the shifts that you're seeing. This has a lot of components to add in a layering sandwich. It has that purple and blue that I really loved in that photo of the duo. Then I tried to pull some flakies, and that's where it got complicated because I couldn't find blue flakies. This is the closest I have. It is called Crystal Opal, and it does have the blue flakies, but they're not quite the right kind of blue flakies. I was looking for more of a purple to blue or a blue to purple, and this one is more like a blue to aqua, and it has some pink in there, but not really the purple shift that I was seeing. But those were the closest, so I have those to play around with. Then I pulled EDK's The Imposter, question mark. This was from PPU a couple years back, and this one I thought might work, but look closely, the blue is not the flakies. The blue is micro glitter. Plus there's iridescent flakies. So again, I'm not really getting blue though. I'm getting green to fuchsia. Next route that I decided to go was see if I have blue shimmers. So the next one that I pulled is Alchemy Lacquer's Champ. And this one does have that blue with some purple that I was hoping to find in flaky form. Next up, I pulled one from Berry M. This is Whimsical Dreams. This one doesn't have flakies, but it does have iridescent glitter, and it has other components that I had hoped would sort of fill in the gaps for what we were missing, those holographic flakies and some shimmer. And then last but not least, I pulled a Bee's Knees lacquer called Battra. This one might have been designed specifically as a shearer topper, and this one has more of a blurple to pink, with some flecks of like an aqua in there. These are the combinations that I ended up with. The first combination that I did was Orly in the Conservatory. That was the base color. To add the red hue to it, that pinky red hue, I used Aura's Downhill. That is what's adding a lot of that blue to purple shimmer that you're seeing. And then I added a layer of flakes using Fancy Gloss's Crystal Opal. And that one is nice. It's not quite what I was going for, but it's a really fun combination for sure. Then I decided to play around with A. England's Maxim. That is by far the darkest and not really the vibe that I was going for, but I wanted to see how it looked with flaky. So again, I used Fancy Gloss's Crystal Opal. Now the interesting thing is you do still see quite a lot of that hollow in Maxim, which is nice, but again, not quite the vibe that I was going for. Next, I decided to play with the Beyond the nail polish, but as you can see, you're seeing a lot of blue glitter, and that is because I layered EDK's The Imposter over it. And like I mentioned when I was describing it, you get a lot of blue micro glitters, and unfortunately, that is not the look I'm going for either. You get green flakies in there, but the blue is provided by glitter, and that's not really the vibe I was going for. Next up, I used Chaotic Glitz Prepare to Face the Butcher Baker. That one did require 2 coats because this was a shearer formula. I think all of the rest of these so far in the base color were just 1 coaters, so that provided the brown base. Then I did a layer of Aura's Downhill, and that actually was pretty close. I didn't add any flakies to this one actually, and I really liked how it turned out. You get some shimmer, you get some contrasting colors. This one does also shift to blue and purple in different lights. So that I thought was pretty close up until this point. Next up, I decided to play with Polished for Days Rudolph. That's the one that actually had those silver holographic flakes in it, and it had that red lean. Then I decided to layer Alchemy's Champ over it. And as you can see, that definitely made this lean purple. Which is, again, not quite what I was going for. I mean, it's a beautiful combination. Again, I actually really like how icy it looks, but not the look I was aiming for. So next up was my sort of oddball that I picked, the Wildflower Lacquer Cat Bear, to try to get that orange with red lean in there. But that also did require 2 coats to get fully opaque, or at least mostly opaque. And then I did a coat of Barry M's Whimsical Dreams over it. And that's the one that had the glitter in it, not the flakies. And this one again ended up looking more icy over it, unfortunately, not a blue glimmer that shifted to purple. So that didn't get me even close, really. That was, I think, one of the furthest attempts. So then I decided to go with the Turtle Tootsies. This is the one that I mentioned had the closest color, seemingly, to what I was seeing as the duo had been layered. And this one is Chili. And over it, I did Bee's Knees Lacquer's Battra. And as you can see, again, we ended up more purple than a red with a contrasting purple flake on top of it, or particle. So I went back and I looked over the combinations that I liked the most, and I ended up going back to A England because I liked the richness of color that that had. And I did a coat of A England Maxim. And then on top of that, I did a layer of Aura's Downhill. Now, this one also kind of leans purple, but more like that photo did. So it has the particles, not necessarily hollow flakes, but you do get some particles and some shimmer and some glimmer. There's not the gold flash in here necessarily, but you do get a gold glimmer from the hollow particles in Downhill. And because Downhill does shift, I get blue and purple at certain angles. So, of all of the combinations, I actually think that that is my winner. I really like how this looks. It is sparkly. It is red with that, not so much of a brown lean actually, but it's close enough to that image that I think I'm okay not getting the duo. However, I am thinking I might end up adding the flaky topper to my wish list because that, like I said, I'm missing blue flakes. So it would be interesting to try that flaky topper over one of my favorite combinations, maybe A England with a red sheer color on top of it or something else like that. But that is my favorite combination. Let me know how you thought I did. Did any of these combinations catch your eye? All in all, this was really fun. It was not as easy as I thought it would be because when I started, I had an image in my mind of a brown leaning red polish that happened to have a gold shimmer. And this is, like I said, the closest I could find, but this has flakies in it. So I don't think that's the one that I had in mind. In any case, there you have it. That's the combinations that I came up with. Let me know what you thought down below. Are you planning on getting the duo? Did you know about the duo? Do you have any other suggestions for blue flakies? Because I am all ears. It's definitely one of those things that I keep thinking I have, and then when I go to look for them, I don't have them. So there we have it. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Hopefully this was helpful. Maybe it helped you find some possibilities for combinations or inspiration to try some layering techniques. This has definitely been a concept that I've really been having a lot of fun with. So as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish, and hopefully have a good rest of your day or your evening, and I will see you in that next one.